We did it.
Yep.
We are live. We're here in Nashville, episode 100 of the Football Guys Fantasy Football Show. I'm Alfredo Brown. We got Jagger May, Dave Kluge, Joey Wright. We're all here, boys. Last night, round one, was ridiculous. I think the person who had the most fun, though, Roger Goodell.
Easily.
Was he? Our guy was finger gunning. I think he was playing a drinking game. Offensive player gets drafted, take a shot.
No,
because pick 28, he dropped the card coming out.
Pick 29, pick 29, Cowboys. He dropped the cards. I think last night I said he looks kind of like everyone's dad when they wake up from a nap and just like slowly walks to the bathroom. The walk out to the podium every time was incredibly slow. By pick 25, he had done so many finger guns to the crowd. Roger Goodell was just having a blast out there.
Yeah, putting a new meaning on the draft night booze, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a well-constructed pun, Dave. I can't wait for people to hate that.
Hold on, guys. I have to retweet this. I have to take a second. Yep,
Still
there we
working
go.
on it?
I just did it. No, I did it.
Right.
I did it. Grandpa did it. So today, we're going to be recapping the first round, all the relevant players from fantasy football that were drafted on Thursday night. Before we do that, just want to let everyone know, we've got a draft week discount going on here with Football Guys, 10% off. You go to footballguys.com/FF100. You're going to get 10% off for the year on your Football Guys subscription. And also, it's just a big support of us. We also got our Dynasty Rookie Guide that's coming out. It's going to be updated with all the landing spots. That's going to be on May 1st, Wednesday. And then stick around here for the show because we're giving away 2 spots to our listener league. 2. We've got 7 more. So we're going to be giving out spots all throughout the offseason here. But boys, everyone's here for the NFL draft reactions, round 1. We're just going to recap the relevant players. We're going to go in order. Last night was nuts. We had 6 quarterbacks get drafted in the first 12 picks. I was not expecting that. My bet was way wrong. I went under on 4.5 for the first round. 7 wide receivers in round 1. 10 fantasy skill players in the top 13. This was the draft for fantasy football. And it all kicked off with Caleb Williams going to the Bears at pick 1. So what we're going to do here, let's kind of go around. Let's give these picks a grade. And then we're going to talk about the fantasy fallout, kind of to go over like what some of our staff members have been saying. And then we'll ask some really important questions about these guys and maybe see where we have them ranked for Dynasty. So let's start here. Number 1, Chicago Bears go with Caleb Williams. And I mean, I got to throw it to Dave first. Dave, what are you grading this? I have a feeling it's going to be good.
It's an A. I mean, he's the best player of the class pretty easily. We know the things that he can do outside the structure of the offense, but we also know what he can do in the pocket and on script as well. We were talking about it yesterday. It was kind of weird. We saw one of the terms that they used to describe Caleb Williams was twitchy. I don't agree with that at all. I think he's such a fluid player. We were kind of joking that he throws the ball like a softball or like a shortstop, but he has no baseball experience. I'm stoked to see what he can do here. I give this one an A pretty easily. We'll dive into it a little bit, but we all wrote articles last night. We had a whole team of people at Football Guys writing these articles about the risers and the fallers. And, I think the immediate reaction is that DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are probably risers because of this, because it's a better situation than last year. But I don't know. Are we concerned at all about what DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and now Rome Odunze, a trio of pass catchers can do with a rookie quarterback? I think that's the big question here.
I mean, Jagger, what do you think? Because I know we were all talking about this last night because it was already hard for us to be buying in on DJ Moore with Keenan Allen being added there. Now you've got 3 wide receivers and they've all got a rookie quarterback distributing the ball. Where are you at with these guys? Like, who are you drafting? Or are you just kind of avoiding all of them?
No, I definitely want him because I think Caleb Williams is a good player, but realistically, they're all wide receiver 2s in fantasy, maybe high-end wide receiver 3s. And one thing that's good is that all their profiles kind of have a specific archetype where Rome Odunze is a clear X, DJ Moore is a clear flanker or a Z, and then Keenan Allen's going to be doing his thing in the slot. So, like, if anything, I love this for Caleb Williams. And then the rest of the wide receivers, like if you have DJ Moore as your wide receiver 1, and a couple of teams I do, then you kind of need to be thinking about getting a real wide receiver 1.
Yeah. And I think the big thing, too, is we've talked about this a lot on the show. No rookie quarterback has ever supported multiple 1,000-yard receivers. And Stroud came close last year. I mean, we can kind of say Tank Dell's injury is the reason that he did that. But for all of these guys to pay off and be fantasy relevant, we need Caleb Williams to literally have the best passing season in NFL history.
Will we see the first 4,000-yard passer? I actually think if he stays healthy,
he's got the weapons.
He's got
the weapons. So, all right. So it sounds like we all really like the Caleb Williams pick here for the Bears. I think that goes without saying. Dave, you gave it an A. Jagger, are you also an A?
I gave an A+. I mean, it's
Dave's so happy. Joey?
It's the only pick they could make. It's the A+.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I just went with an A. So let's kind of break this down for Dynasty. There's been sort of I don't want to say a debate here as to where to rank him, but I think you're going to see him a lot in that area where Anthony Richardson is, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. So let's kind of talk this out here. Dave, I'll start with you again because I know this is your guy. You're going to be married to him for at least the next 4 years, whatever it is. So where do you have Caleb Williams ranked?
Right now, again, we've talked about this before. You know, he doesn't have the elite rushing upside, so it's hard for me to put him ahead of guys like Kyler Murray and ahead of guys like Lamar Jackson. And then, of course, Patrick Mahomes. We know that we're looking at 5-10 years of production out of him. Josh Allen as well. So he falls into the same bucket for me immediately as a guy like CJ Stroud, where I think the whole dynasty community is a little bit too high on CJ Stroud, you know, saying he's QB3, QB4, very proficient passer, but I prefer him right now, crazy as it may sound, ahead of Joe Burrow because he does bring a little bit more rushing upside than Joe Burrow.
You prefer him over Joe Burrow?
Yeah, Caleb Williams ahead of Joe Burrow. So I don't do rankings, I do tiers, but he falls into the QB6, QB7, QB8 tier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, next pick that went here. Washington Commanders take Jayden Daniels after there's all like the reports back and forth. We invited all the guys out to Top Golf, and Jayden Daniels was really mad, and his agent's putting out stuff and reports that Jayden doesn't want to go to Washington. He's going to pull an Eli Manning. Well, it didn't matter. Yeah. It didn't matter. Jayden Daniels ends up going to the Washington Commanders at pick 2. Joey, I want to throw this to you first. This was... I mean, Jayden Daniels has a really good opportunity for fantasy football here, but it's also just a really good landing spot for football in general. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, who, whatever the opinions are, like he can run an offense. He's got a couple of good wide receivers there. There's a solid running game. Jayden Daniels, what are you grading this pick?
I think it's an A. For me, like I said, with Caleb Williams, that's the pick you make. For me, that was the pick you make at number 2. I think they have the best situation for to go into with Washington, with having Terry McLaurin, having Jahan Dotson. I like the pick a lot. You know, there's a bigger question of the way I like to play Dynasty is in a 3-year window. And I don't think it's out of the question that he maybe not outperforms Caleb Williams, but they're neck and neck the first few years of their NFL careers.
Yeah, Dave, there's these awesome fantasy fallout articles that we're putting up over on footballguys.com. Go check those out. It's coming from all of our awesome staff writers. I know we've got one up on Jayden Daniels. So why don't you give us kind of a little bit of a snippet or a preview of what's being said there and give a shout out to our writer.
Well, Jeff Hasley wrote this one, and I think he makes a really good point that one of the biggest problems we saw from Jayden Daniels in college was his willingness to hold onto the football too long. That obviously turned into a lot of sacks. We talked about the sack to pressure ratio a lot this offseason. And he sees Austin Eckler as one of the biggest risers here. Somebody that the fantasy community...
I forgot that Austin Eckler was on that team. I'm not going to lie.
Kind of wrote him off for dead, but he's going to be a hot read. You know, they're going to try to get the ball in his hands rather than Jayden Daniels holding onto the ball and taking these sacks. They think that, you know, Jeff's idea here, Jeff Hasley, is that they are going to work him in as kind of the hot read, use him as that option where Jayden Daniels, rather than holding onto the ball, can check down to Eckler. So something I hadn't really thought about, but it makes a lot of sense for Eckler to kind of thrive in this offense.
I'm kind of intrigued to see what's going to happen with Jayden Daniels there in Washington, because I don't think it's a simple like swap in where he gets the same type of receivers that he had at LSU, but there's a way for Terry McLaurin to still be a downfield threat. There's a way for Jahan Dotson to kind of be in that Malik Nabers role. Like there's a lot of ways to make Jayden Daniels comfortable. And I think that's what the biggest knocks on him was that he gets uncomfortable really fast. That pressure to sack ratio was not very good. It was a lot of one reads and run. That may not be the best for football development, but I think there is an ecosystem there where things can improve. But I mean, for fantasy, like it's the rushing. And Jagger, what was your grade for Jayden Daniels going to the Commanders here? Because I mean, I think the rushing's got to prop him up pretty high.
Yeah, and I gave him a B+. And the reason why I gave him a B+, it's more I think another player should have went ahead. I just think they're a better talent. But for fantasy, that's a whole different animal. Like we said, for at least 2 to 3 years with these first-round quarterbacks, especially he has no competition and he has weapons around him, you know, he has top 8 upside. You know, especially we got a lot of rushing quarterbacks now, but even still, any given game, he could be the top guy of the week when you consider that, you know, he's electric. And when he does sometimes hold the ball, it's to run for 1,000 yards in one single game. And I know that's a joke, but a little bit of hyperbole, but this guy's a freak.
We'll do it in a year.
You know, doing a year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like I'm going to draft a lot of them in redraft, everywhere. I'm going to draft a lot of them, and that, like I said, I like Drake May a little bit more. This has nothing to do with Jayden Daniels being a bad player.
No, I think we saw Lamar Jackson break fantasy football in 2019, and because of that, fantasy managers, drafters got a little bit more savvy with wanting to draft these rushing guys. But then we saw Trey Lance get drafted early and not even start his rookie season. And then we saw Anthony Richardson get drafted early and get injured almost immediately. So I'm thinking there might be an opportunity to draft Jayden Daniels, hopefully at some sort of discount this offseason, because people have been burned by Lance and they've been burned by Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, we saw both of those guys getting drafted as top 8 quarterbacks in their rookie seasons. If Jayden Daniels can somehow fall and get drafted in like that 10, 12, maybe even QB 14 range, I'm going to have Jayden Daniels on every single roster this offseason.
Yeah. I think there's going to be enough of the fantasy football pundits out there that are just going to be pushing him up draft boards. But I think you're right. I think there's going to be enough people be like, no, he's going to get injured. You see that he's 175 pounds soaking wet. Like, I know he weighed in heavier.
210.
So don't yell at me in the comments.
In his pockets.
Yeah. Like he ate a big breakfast. I get it. But I do think there is going to be kind of that home league thing of like, he's going to get hurt. Look what happened to Anthony Richardson last year. So then the question is, I mean, if so much of his fantasy value comes from rushing, can he be a 1,000-yard rusher as a rookie? Is that going to be one of the big deciding factors from Joey? I saw your face. Dave, you nodded, and Joey, you went,
Well, I mean, because no one's ever done it. So if he does it, he's the first one to do it. But someone's going to be the first person to do it. So could it be him? Yes. I think it's more realistic. Season 2, season 3, we see that out of him.
I mean, on a per game basis, Justin Fields could have been a 1,000-yard rusher his rookie season. He just didn't start a full 17 games. Is there any reason we think that Jayden Daniels won't be the week 1 starter? I think barring injury, I mean, 1,000 is a high bar for sure, but I think we're kind of penciling him in for 700, 800. And if everything works out, he's rushing for 1,000.
Yeah. It's in his range of outcomes is what I would say. Like the likelihood is debatable, but you can't say that it's impossible.
So with that, does this make him like the guy that you're willing to draft as one of the final QB1s in your redraft leagues? Like this is the guy you're taking your shot on most likely?
Absolutely.
If I'm in the turn in a super flex league, I would take Anthony Richardson and Jayden Daniels around that area, or the Kyler Murrays, depending on who's going in that range of the draft every time, and shoot for that upside.
Do you trust them enough in like a single quarterback redraft league, like the most basics? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to throw out some names here for dynasty rankings and kind of see, let's gauge this. All right.
Okay.
So let's go Jordan Love or Jayden Daniels in dynasty.
I have back to back.
Who's higher?
Jordan Love, 1 spot.
Okay. So Jordan Love,
Jayden Daniels for me.
Jayden Daniels higher.
Jordan Love
higher. Okay. I'm the same way. Kyler Murray or Jayden Daniels?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler. All right. Justin Herbert or Jayden Daniels?
Jayden Daniels.
I'm still going with Herbert here just because of the longevity. I think that we may have overreacted a little bit to the Harbaugh signing.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert still, first 4 years of his career, one of the most prolific passers in NFL history. I think people are getting way too scared that he's going to be on a short leash. Give me Herbert.
I think the difference is we know what Herbert is.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I know there's some excitement right now with Jayden Daniels and the rushing thing, but like
Jayden Daniels could be anything. He
What?
could be Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he could even be Justin Fields. Like it could be anything right now. So all right, last one on here. Trevor Lawrence or Jayden Daniels?
That's the big question for me, because I think this is like I was saying last night. It's a make or break year in a lot of ways for Trevor Lawrence. If he doesn't hit that, Jayden Daniels could easily be taken ahead of Trevor Lawrence.
But this way, this is where it's kind of back to back for me, and I'd have to. I'd almost hope that someone would make the decision for me, like someone took Trey Lance or Jayden Daniels ahead, so it would make it easy. But again, Trevor Lawrence is intriguing. You want to talk about someone who could be Justin Herbert? It's him. I think I can't quit Lawrence. I would probably take Lawrence a little bit. Like I would step on that rake just one more time.
Let me throw another one out there though. Are we going Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson.
Oh, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it's not even a question for me.
All right.
I think it's just because we saw what Anthony Richardson could be, even in that short amount of time. He was quarterback 3 in points per game.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Shane Steichen a little bit more. I think I trust that Colts offense a little bit more right now. But I like that, though. That's a good question. All right, let's get to our third pick here. New England Patriots. Jagger was pants off immediately. Drake May. No, yeah, you're not. And bravo, might
I'm
I
wearing
say.
black jeans, guys. I'm just being weird about
The only one wearing pants right now. Congratulations, Jagger.
Drake May goes to the New England Patriots at pick 3. There was a lot of talk about maybe the Patriots trade out of that, the Vikings move, and we didn't see teams actually move up for quarterbacks like we all thought. There was so much speculation. There could be 4 quarterbacks in a row or 5 quarterbacks in the top 6 or whatever it may be. But Drake May ends up going to the Patriots. And I had Drake May ranked higher than Jayden Daniels going into this process. I'm not a huge fan of the landing spot. Jagger, you're closest to this project. It is closest to your heart. I know you love the Patriots. What did you grade the Drake May to the Patriots pick here?
I mean, again, just talking about what a team did to make themselves better, it is an A+. They picked the one guy that that's what they should have picked. Much as you want like Marvin Harrison being a better prospect overall, you can't really do anything without a quarterback. I don't understand a lot of a lot of the talk around him falling this year. I do think it's a lot of recency bias when you can look at the top 3 quarterbacks who have the least, like his best help was Devontae Walker, who might be a 4th, 5th round pick. I don't know because some guys went way higher than I thought, but he's not really a great prospect. He didn't have the offensive line. So, I mean, you're going to see someone struggle and try to play hero ball. But with that being said, that dude needs some help. He needs
Pop Douglas, not enough.
He's got experience throwing to not good wide receivers, so it's going to be a pretty seamless transition.
You just get to do it more in the NFL.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Patriots have what? Pop Douglas,
Kendrick Bourne,
Juju Smith-Schuster,
KJ Osborne.
Is Devontae Parker still there?
No, he's on the Eagles.
He's on the Eagles now.
Tyquan Thornton, Jalen Reagor. These are names we know.
Good God.
Bob Cousy, I think he's there now.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, Hunter Henry could be the lead target earner this year.
Right
Yeah.
now. We still have the top of the 2nd round, and I'm gonna pray.
I mean, the Patriots have
a lot of success hitting with receivers in the draft, so no reason to think they can't do it again.
Oh my God!
Patriots have the 3rd pick here in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's some good names still on the board. There's Lad McConkey, who, I mean, if there was a Patriot, if there was a Patriot,
Drake May and Lad McConkey, that's a Patriot start right there.
Guys, someone yesterday, I don't remember who it was, but described Ricky Pearsall as a gym rat, a scrappy gym rat. And I was like, no way you didn't do that on purpose. No way.
I wrote he was a sneaky athlete in my article.
Oh, I love it.
Just inject a little bit in there.
Yeah.
I love it. So,
first one in the gym room and the last one out.
All right. So you grade Drake May as an A+. Dave, what do you have it as?
I give it as an A+ as well, because I think he is just as good of a prospect as Jayden Daniels.
Yep.
So A+ for me. It's what the Patriots had to do. But we'll talk about it a little bit, kind of dynasty rankings. I'm mildly concerned. I can't put him nearly as high as I can Jayden Daniels or Caleb Williams. He's a couple tiers below those guys, but he could surprise us.
Joey, what about you?
It was the best pick for the Patriots to make. I just want to see the Patriots build around him now.
Yeah. I got it as an A, not because of the pick itself, but just because of that ecosystem that he's going to be in. The Alex Van Pelt offense is going to be a lot of quick hitters. Like, they don't have a lot of guys that are going to be winning on nuanced routes downfield. It's either going to be just straight go balls or quick hitters to get the ball out of Drake May's hands quick. A guy who's had to play a lot of hero ball. This is great. We're watching our producer crawl around on the floor so that he doesn't get seen by the camera. Phenomenal. Absolutely great footwork by him.
Taylor, right?
Shout out Taylor. Scouting report on Taylor.
Yeah.
Great footwork, quiet,
Sneaky
move through the
athlete.
pocket. It's great.
High motor. Yeah.
Sneaky athlete.
Some fluid hips on that bear crawl.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So then the question here is, we saw a lot of different quarterbacks go to some different places. Jagger, I don't think you're allowed to answer this question, but was New England the worst landing spot for a rookie quarterback to go to?
I will say, yeah.
No, you're not. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like,
If you're going to be honest.
I'm realistic. Like, it's Pop Douglas is the best offensive player right now. I'm not including Ramondre, depending on what you feel about him. But like, I love Pop Douglas, but it's like not enough. You want Pop Douglas as your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. There is no X. There's not even a flanker on this team. So, I mean, it is what it is. We need to do some work to weaponize the offense. And believe it or not, I'm using the exact quote that Gerard Mayo said. Like, we need to weaponize the offense. So let's hope they keep doing that.
Excited to hear the this or that player from Dynasty standings. I want to see
we're gonna
where
get there.
you have him lumped in, because I might be a little higher than I do.
We're going to get there. I'm moving him around because I had Drake May ahead of Jayden Daniels, and now I've had to move him down a little bit. But like, that's the thing, is the draft is going to be fluid. That could change once again. All of a sudden they get an Adonai Mitchell or a Lad McConkey, and you're saying, okay, I'm believing in Drake May a little bit more. What I want to see here is we got the fantasy fallout over on footballguys.com for these players. Drake May, what are we talking about with him going to the Patriots over there?
This article was written by Jay Stein, who does a lot of the work on the rookie guide for us, does great stuff. Nothing too surprising here. He has the risers, all the pass catchers, Demario Douglas, Hunter Henry, KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne, kind of what you'd expect. And then the fallers, obviously, Jacoby Brissett. Now, I guess that's the other question, though, is like Drake May, is he a week 1 starter, plugging him in, ready to go? Or are we going to be looking at Jacoby Brissett as that bridge guy? Maybe week 1, maybe the first 8 weeks, maybe a whole season. I don't think Drake May is a guy that needs a ton of development, but I think we see Jacoby Brissett at least start the season as the quarterback.
No, and Drake May's still only 21 years old,
Yeah.
guys. Like he's still very young. And I know that that's something that's been talked about a lot, is that guys like Jayden Daniels and Bo Nix have so much starting experience, and Drake May doesn't, but he had 2 full years of starting experience. He's 21 years old. There's going to be some bumps in the road.
Yeah.
There's going to be that rookie season's probably going to be really rough. And then second year gets better, third year gets better. And this could be the guy, and he has the ceiling that we could be talking about him as kind of the Josh Allen 3 or 4 years down the road here, because he does have that rushing ability as well.
And I don't think
Strong
this team
arm.
has any delusions of making the playoffs or
Right.
doing anything this year. So they might be willing, first year without Bill Belichick, to kind of slow roll everything. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Jacoby Brissett gets a handful, if not more than half the season to start. So, talking from a dynasty standpoint, if you're looking for somebody, you need a warm body at your QB2, you can get Jacoby Brissett for probably a 4th round pick right now and get a handful of starts in your super flex spot.
Sorry, I hate to be ignoring your Jacoby Brissett analysis, but Taylor with the moves, man. Taylor, we love you.
Did you get some Teddy Grams over there or something?
What are you eating?
Oh,
Cough drops.
Way
Nice.
less interesting.
Yeah, but it's like, if there's Teddy Grams, what's up? What's up? Get him out here. All right, so let's take a look at the dynasty rankings debate where we have Drake May. For me, he fell a bit. I'll kind of save mine for last. Joey, why don't we start with you? Actually, let's do this. I'll say the names like I did last time, and we'll kind of go Drake May or this other player. So let's go Drake May or Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Drake May or Jayden Daniels.
Jayden Daniels.
Drake May or Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
And I don't even like Brock Purdy, but I'd pick him.
Drake May or Dak Prescott.
I'll take Dak.
That's where
I've got
it
Dak a
depends
couple
on the
spots above.
Yeah, it depends on the roster. Like if I need a rebuild, I'll trade Dak for Drake May plus. Does that make sense?
That's the context that's needed. Okay.
I wonder if you're going with who I think you're going with, because this
Drake May or Tua Tagovailoa.
Drake May.
I got Drake May ahead.
No,
I think-
that's silly. I'm being silly. It's Tua.
Yeah, it's Tua for me.
I've got Drake May 1 spot behind Tua. I've got Drake May at quarterback 17 in Dynasty right now. Behind Tua, but in front of Jared Goff and Bryce Young.
I mean, that's.
I think that's about right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been very bullish on Deshaun Watson, and I've talked about it a
come
lot
on.
this offseason.
We're bringing that
Come
up right
on.
I'm just saying, if you can, I'd flip Drake May for Deshaun Watson in a pick right now. If
now.
I
In
could.
this economy.
Get him in the
Got
comments,
him.
everybody. Get him in the comments.
Dave Kluge, everybody.
at Dave Kluge in the
I
comments.
defend you a lot. I can't defend you.
Yeah, no, you're
I don't expect anyone
Dave. Go get us
going
some Teddy
10 toes
Grams,
down
dude.
for Deshaun Watson. Don't worry.
Go get us some Teddy Grams. Get out
Goff
of
and
here.
Young are interesting because those are the 2 guys I have ahead of.
And I think that's reasonable
May.
to have these guys in that area. And I think it's the context that Jagger added. It's like, are you rebuilding or are you competing right now? If you're competing right now, Jared Goff, awesome.
Yeah.
If you're rebuilding, I think you can kind of look at a Bryce Young or a Drake May, and it's who do you trust for that ecosystem they have around them? I would kind of like Dave Canales with the Panthers there. So I think there's an argument to be made. Let's move on. Pick number 4 here.
Ooh, yeah.
Arizona Cardinals. And guys, this was such a chalky draft.
I
it
was
was
just gonna
so
say,
chalky.
we
Like,
knew it.
the mock
we
draft
nailed it.
episode. Yeah, the mock
We
draft
nailed it.
episode we did. First 4 picks, nailed them. And we got a lot of the picks right too.
First 5 picks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about Joe Alt at 5, but we nailed the first 5.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and Malik Nabers, we got a lot of them here, but it was very chalky to start off. You don't typically see that. We didn't see as many trades as we did in previous years, right? I think we said 2 trades in our mock, and we're like, that's nuts. And we got what, 3 trades on
Trades, yeah.
on round
About
1? Like,
Panthers trading up to jump themselves.
yeah. We'll
Yeah.
get to that in a moment. So ridiculous, man.
That's 40 chess.
So
man. Y'all just don't get it.
ridiculous.
Y'all don't get it.
So pick number 4, Arizona Cardinals go with Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. And I think one of my favorite rumors leading up to the draft was that the Colts were actually considering a trade up to go get Marvin Harrison Jr. at pick 4, which would have been absolutely nuts. But I do like this, that he goes to Arizona Cardinals. The comp was AJ Green, that a lot of people made for Marvin Harrison Jr. AJ Green was a former Arizona Cardinal for a little bit there in the twilight of his career.
Like a day.
Yeah, I mean, just,
He wore a jersey.
I give this an A+ because I
Yeah.
think that this is the best player in the draft. They didn't have to move. They didn't get cute. And anytime you can go and make things better for your quarterback that you've invested in, You got him a brand new Xbox. Now you got him a brand new Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, they've done everything right for him. So let's hear the grades down the line. Jagger, what do you have for Marvin Harrison Jr.?
It's A+. It's not.
A+. Is everyone at A+?
A+.
Yeah, I think that was an easy
Can
one.
we give 2 pluses?
And this
Yeah,
is
A++.
I would
Yeah.
give 2 pluses.
The grades don't mean anything. They're made up.
What?
We can just do whatever we want.
I thought we were sending this report card to them.
No, this is an S. It's
This is
S tier.
This is like whose line is it anyway? Like,
Yeah, it's all
grades
made
don't
up.
matter.
The show doesn't even matter, guys. You can
I mean,
stop watching.
No,
Kyler Murray's
don't do
best
that.
years came when he had DeAndre Hopkins, and we saw him last
Yes.
year. Sure, some of the lack of productivity was or production was because he was coming off the ACL tear, but his number one weapon last year was Trey McBride. And no shade towards Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch. They're football players and they can catch the ball, but Kyler Murray needs that guy, and now he's got that again in Marvin Harrison. So Kevin Coleman, he did the article on Marvin Harrison Jr. yesterday. The only guy that he talked about in the stock watch moving up or down, Kyler Murray's a riser.
Okay.
Didn't have Trey McBride as a faller, and I think that's
Let's talk about it because
Yeah.
I know you've been wanting to talk about Trey McBride here, and I think there's a little bit of dissension between us on where this goes. So, Dave, why don't you start us out here, because you seem to be thinking that the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to hurt Trey McBride a little bit.
slightly. And I think
A little bit.
I mean, I can talk about Trey McBride for an hour. It's such an interesting prospect because he didn't do a lot his rookie season. Didn't really do a lot the start of year 2 either, but you could add some context to that and say that he was playing behind Zach Ertz, and it took a Zach Ertz injury for him to break out. But when he did break out, he was arguably the most productive tight end in football, and he's still young. So he's got a lot of good things going for him, but he's also got some concerns in his profile as well. I don't see how this doesn't bump Trey McBride down slightly. Even though we anticipated it, we expected it to happen. Trey McBride was a guy, as is, where you could project him for a 30-32% target share. Marvin Harrison is immediately going to come in and take that sort of target share. And I think that rather than being the first read, we're looking at Trey McBride more as a second read now. Still looking at him as a top 5 redraft tight end and dynasty tight end, but I think his ceiling is going to be slightly capped with Harrison there.
I don't know, man. I guess for me, I don't buy too much into a tight end and a wide, especially a pure X, cannibalizing off each other because they live in different areas of the field. And to me, that's like you said, there's just pressure off everyone. And he may not have that 32%, but he's got to have an efficient 20%, 25%. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Where I lean towards there's no change, but I get what you're saying. Like if anything, I think touchdown equity kind of comes to mind. Like that might be a problem because Michael Wilson's a big guy, and then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. You're going to throw him in the red zone. You're going to try to.
I think this is good for Greg Dortch even because now Greg Dortch, he's going to operate in completely different parts of the field from Marvin Harrison, and they were relying on him. He was drawing primary coverage from defenses. Now Greg Dortch as a second or third option is going to look much better in this offense. So I think this is it helps everybody in Arizona when you have a receiver like this. The only difference is I think that, like I said, it could cap McBride's ceiling slightly.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I don't want to hear any slander. No,
yeah. You're not wrong. I do think that every single one of these offensive weapons kind of fills a role. I don't think they necessarily cannibalize each other. There's enough footballs to go around. No. If anything, I do think that the Marvin Harrison pick, it's going to take a little bit more away from Michael Wilson or Greg Dortch. I do. I think that some of those targets come from there. But I mean, did we not think the Cardinals were going to draft a wide receiver early?
We knew.
We knew this is what they were going to do. This didn't surprise us.
I mean, we were saying last week, go out and buy Kyler Murray because they are going to draft Marvin Harrison, and immediately, now everybody's like, oh yeah, Kyler Murray, that's right, he's a top 5 dynasty wide receiver when he was QB9 a week ago, and all it took was it to be officially official because something crazy could have happened. They could have traded back, but they did what we expected, and now we're going to see that bump to Kyler.
So Kyler Murray in redraft, where we have him?
Ooh, pull up my rankings
because I think you got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts in whatever order.
I'm taking him ahead of Burrow. I'm taking him ahead of.
Are you taking him ahead of Stroud?
No.
Okay, so then you got Anthony Richardson as well. I think that Kyler ends up in kind of that quarterback 7, quarterback 8 range.
ADP has Jordan Love ahead of Kyler Murray right now, and I would take Kyler 100.
I think that changes now with the Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Am I an idiot for saying this? But dynasty quarterbacks are kind of deep right now.
They are.
We got a nice influx of talent here. Mm-hmm. Kyler Murray got his weapon. Jordan Love breaking out of nowhere. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Trevor Lawrence got a nice new shiny toy. there's, obviously Josh Allen kind of in a tier of his own. You get the longevity with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. But, would it surprise you if Anthony Richardson, Jayden Daniels, Kyler Murray, if these guys outscore Mahomes this year and outscore Joe Burrow and outscore CJ Stroud and outscore Jalen Hurts? There's a lot of it's pretty tight at the top of the dynasty quarterback rankings.
And to be honest, I think to get in a little bit of game theory, the ideal builds right now is get your high upside rushing guy, and then get like a Jared Goff or Drake May, depending on your build later.
Baker Mayfield.
And those are going later. Get a good wide receiver, a stud at your turns and stuff. So
the dependable QB2s you can grab: Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, all going QB 13 or later.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, let's handcuff time.
Yep.
All right, let's focus here on Marvin Harrison Jr.
Be out of a job.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Why are we talking about Kirk Cousins? So let's focus here on Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Specifically, redraft and dynasty. Because I think dynasty, we all have him very, very high. I've got him as wide receiver 6 right now, just behind Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Amon-Ra, and Puka. I think it's easy to
Same.
Yeah, I think it's easy to say you might have him at wide receiver 5, just depending on where you view him.
I would take him ahead of Puka.
Okay. It's just so hard to discount a guy who just did something historic and comes back with the exact same offense.
I feel like that's the real debate. I don't think anybody's putting Harrison ahead of Chase, Amon-Ra, Jefferson, or Lamb. I think that's
I wouldn't fault anyone.
5 or 6. Puka and Marvin Harrison, you're looking at an extremely productive guy with no draft capital and a guy that we're expecting to be really good with draft capital. I mean, he's 5 or 6.
Still talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., though. Who do you think is going to be a quarterback in the league in 2 years? Matt Stafford or Kyler Murray?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah. So
depends on what games get released, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that Puka just
we get a PS6.
Goes the way of
all bets are off, my friend.
Golden Tate and Kenny Galladay and Cooper Kupp at this point, I guess.
All right.
Okay, but before we move on to the next pick, let's just Joey, do you have that ADP still pulled up on drafts?
I can get it really fast.
Yeah, if you have that. Okay. Because so for Marvin Harrison Jr. in redraft, because the dynasty we can all agree he's a top tier player, but for redraft, where are we thinking of taking him?
So this ADP has him at 17, which he's not going there.
Yeah,
I would have Marvin Harrison as my wide receiver 5 in dynasty.
Well, not dynasty, redraft.
Redraft.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying.
9 as my wide receiver 9. And I expect ADP to rise him up.
So then Marvin Harrison Jr. is kind of everyone's comfortable with him as a 2nd round pick in redraft is what we're saying.
And I mean, I said that Kyler Murray had his best years with DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins also had his best years with Kyler Murray. Yeah. So we know Kyler Murray at this point. He's going into his age, 26 year. He's a veteran. He has supported elite wide receiver ones. He was, propping DeAndre Hopkins up for 1,400 plus yards a season. No reason to think he can't immediately do the same with Marvin Harrison.
New York Giants.
Oh man,
pick 6.
People hated my grade.
Get ready for the booze.
Yeah, people
get ready for the booze.
Boo, Wendy Testerberger.
Your boos mean nothing when we know what you cheer for. The Giants go with Malik Nabers, wide receiver out of LSU, and I don't think any of us dislike Malik Nabers. I think what we all dislike is the Giants in general and everything that's going on there, whether it's Daniel Jones, whether it's the lack of offensive line, whether it's the lack of just offensive weapons that's going to get into scoring position. And this is the team last year that we were making the joke that they've got 5 different slot wide receivers and they're just going to run all of them at the same time.
That's what they added.
And now they go and they get Malik Nabers, who gets primarily most of his production out of the slot. I do know that Daniel Jones likes to throw to slot receivers, but they have those guys on the roster. So let's talk about the grades here. I gave this a C+ for the Giants, and I'm sure people are going to be really pissed off about that. It's not about Malik Nabers. It's not about his talent as a player. Right. This is the right pick for the Giants to have made. I just hate the landing spot for him for fantasy football in general. Could that change? Yeah, we could end up getting a new quarterback in the following years, whatever. But if Daniel Jones doesn't play well this year, I think we're also going to be losing Brian Daboll. I think that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs and the Giants start over again. And now you've got another rookie quarterback and you've got Malik Nabers going through a 2-3 year rebuild. And you're just kind of sitting there waiting and being like, he's really good. And that's how you get Terry McLaurin. You just sit there hoping that the talented guy gets the good pieces around him.
And then Terry McLaurin going into his age 29 season finally ges a quarterback. And it's like, yes, all these years of holding on to a wide receiver 3 have maybe paid off.
Get ready to speak Drake London, bud.
Yeah, it's a C for me. as well. I love Malik Nabers. I don't know. I've been trying to think of like a funny way to like. I don't know. It's like they have a wide receiver, which is great, but they don't have anybody to throw him the ball. I'm not even sure Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback for 17 weeks.
I think
Like,
Drew Lock might.
I think Drew Lock is
like it's not.
He's sitting underneath that seat with a little torch warming it up on him right now. We might see Tommy DeVito again. Like I'm
Tommy
just not
Cutlass, baby.
sold. I am not sold on Daniel.
So-
I'm not convinced that Daniel Jones is the guy either. Like I can't confidently say that he's better than Drew Lock. I can't just like feel good about it.
Drew Lock might be better for Malik Nabers than Daniel Jones because we know
Yeah.
he'll just
More
huck it down
consistent,
there.
Yeah.
He'll force the ball to him.
And I mean, if that happens, you get a little bit of relief in redraft leagues. But Daniel Jones, his best season as a passer was his rookie year. And the best receiver in that season was Sterling Shepard, a slot wide receiver.
Low-key dog,
and
by the way. Sterling
not
Shepard.
low-key.
Injuries,
He's a dog.
Injuries got
He's
him.
dog.
Yeah.
But the points per game had him at around wide receiver 25. Do we think that Malik Nabers can crack the top 24 wide receivers in fantasy points per game with Daniel Jones there?
Redraft? No.
I mean, if he falls into the end zone 8 to 10 times, possibly. But I just don't. I mean,
A lot of love for Daniel Jones.
like what we're hoping,
touchdowns.
like best case scenario for Daniel Jones is what 3,200 yards. Like he's not going to air it out a ton. It's just and not to mention like they lost Saquon Barkley, so there's no threat of a
Darren
run
Waller
game.
might retire.
Yeah, I
Devin
mean,
Singletary, guys.
this
No.
could be this could be
Get ready to learn Devin Singletary, buddy.
I'm
I
trying
was
to
told we
think
wouldn't be saying Darren Waller's name on the show today.
Sorry, yeah. Did
Yeah.
that bring up some?
Listen, he is a bad person and he shouldn't be spoken about on this podcast.
Yeah.
But
Is
then
it-
again, like everybody
Is it because he
Oh,
stole your girl?
I mean, it's just not mine.
Is there Kelsey? Is there Kelsey Plum love going on right here?
There's lots of Kelsey Plum love. You've been in Vegas with me. You've seen me take a picture in front of the graphic.
I got
Like, there's
engaged
a lot of
2
love.
days before Kelsey Plum was single, so I can't.
I pulled up my sleeper app this morning, and Darren Waller's already got -2 points for the fumble.
Nice.
But
Well done.
You know, everything we're saying about Malik Nabers, we said about Garrett Wilson 2 years ago. And Garrett Wilson, didn't live up to the hype, but he still had 1,100 yards, still scored some touchdowns, was still a top 24 receiver. So
It's possible.
we could see it happen. Yeah. I don't think the problem here is he doesn't have that ceiling Marvin Harrison has. He doesn't have the ceiling Odunze has. He could
Maybe not even Xavier Worthy.
he could like volume his way into a top 24 season, but we're not going to see him top 5. I talked about him a couple weeks ago. I said, this is the guy that I think is going to be the fantasy MVP. And I said that because I wanted him to go to the Chargers. I wanted him to go to the Jets. Now that he's with the Giants, I'm rescinding my take. Malik Nabers will not be the fantasy rookie MVP.
There is a world where that happens. You just need
There is a
Doctor.
world.
There's a
You need
world.
Doctor Strange to do a little bit of this action to find it or something.
And it's such a cliche, but Malik Nabers is one of those guys when he's got like 450 yards at the midway point of the season, you go try to buy him in Dynasty. See if anybody's panicking a little bit,
yeah,
because I think
yeah.
that's going to be the move with Nabers.
Yeah.
I think that's the move. So let's talk about those. You mentioned the dynasty rankings. Let's talk about that a little bit because I think this makes him fall down the board a little bit. Is he still a top 12 dynasty wide receiver?
Yes.
No.
Oh, there was a lot. There was a heavy yes and a heavy no.
Yeah, I mean, it's you bet on the talent. The same reason you bet on Garrett Wilson and Drake London
But
and these
there's
guys.
a lot
cream
of
rises to
talent.
the top.
There's a
Right
lot
now.
of talent right now. There's
So
a lot
right,
of
right now
talent.
we're saying Malik Nabers isn't a top 12 guy. What happens if tomorrow, I mean, something crazy happens and they
We
make
might
a
not even
trade?
be here tomorrow.
We might not be.
There's a
but-
world.
But I'm always looking down the road and betting on the talent. Who knows? They could end up with Shadur Sanders next year, and then all of a sudden, wheels up. It's the same thesis we had with Drake London and Garrett Wilson. You just buy these talented players, knowing that the situation can change.
Alfredo, let's do
Let's-
this or that.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
some
Let's do
names
this.
because I think we can give some
Let's do it.
context because Jagger's livid. All right. Drake London or Malik Nabers?
Drake
Drake
London.
London.
I have a question.
AJ Brown or Malik Nabers?
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Brandon Ayuk or Malik Nabers?
Ayuk.
Ayuk, begrudgingly.
Jalen Waddle or Malik Nabers?
Nabers.
Jalen Waddle.
You went
Nabers.
Waddle. You went Nabers.
That's a question for me. Like, if this is the same context, if I'm rebuilding, I'll take Neighbors. If I'm competing, I would rather have Waddle.
And I played Dynasty.
If
in
you're
a career
competing
window,
and you
so
want
yeah.
a wide receiver too, that's going to give you volatile production, you go Waddle.
All right.
Dave, you're really
He's
fun
a
at
little
parties, man.
sassy pants.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the same room. with
I
you
will
anymore.
not stand.
go
for
get
the
some
Malik
Teddy
Nabers
Grahams.
hate. I will not.
Can we mute his mic?
Devontae
Can you do that?
Pot him down, please.
Devontae
Tony
Smith.
Reale mute button.
Devontae Smith or Malik Nabers?
Devontae Smith.
Devon Smith.
Nabers.
Oh boy. Nico Collins or Malik Nabers?
Nabers.
Collins.
Tank Dell or Malik Nabers?
Now
Neighbors.
neighbors. Yeah.
Okay, we got
How about
that.
Chris Olave?
Chris Olave.
Chris Olave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek
Oh,
Carr's
because his situation's so much better with Derek Carr.
Derek
Yes.
Carr's a better Daniel
I
Jones.
think that's the
Chris
best
Olave was
comp.
already a top 12 wide
No, no.
receiver.
I think that's the best
Like, what do
comp because Olave is in
No.
a terrible position. Neighbors is in a terrible position. And I don't like Olave at all. I'll go Neighbors there.
I'll just say with my Malik Nabers is my wide receiver 9 in Dynasty.
Okay.
that's
Wide receiver 9.
that is
bold.
bullish, and I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
He's not messing around. It's right here. On
Roma
the screen.
Dunze or
my
Malik
rankings.
Neighbors?
Ooh, you know the answer.
I'm going Nabers.
What?
I am. He's
The
a
one
better. He's a
talking-
better player. I got
Your
Ro-
Bears card.
That's
We
not-
just did this whole thing where we're like the Giants could be in a 2 to 3 year rebuild, and like,
and it could be a half season rebuild
I
if they
can't
go
say
out and
that he's,
bring in
like,
another quarterback.
Cut and dry, a better player. I think Roma Dunze is a better.
I mean, we're splitting hairs. Roma Odunze is my wide receiver 11. So I mean, they're neck and neck.
Okay. That.
all right. So we all hate Dave, and he loves Malik Neighbors.
Mm.
This next pick in the draft was absolutely the sorry Joe moment of the whole draft.
We were screaming, hooting
Yeah.
and hollering. We were going
Holy
nuts.
smokes, the Atlanta Falcons go with, and I really gotta enunciate. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. The quote from Falcons GM Terry Fontenot is great. If you believe in a quarterback, you have to take him. And if he sits for 4 or 5 years, guys, you know that's the length of the contract, 5 years, right?
He's 65.
He will. If he can, and if he sits for 4 or 5 years, that's a great problem to have because we're doing so well at that position. So it's as simple as if you see a guy you believe in at that position, you have to take him.
Get your guys. That's what he's saying.
Now, there's a lot of dissenting opinions here, man.
There's no dissenting opinions. I think
No,
everyone's in
no,
agreement.
not with us.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, for example, Matt Waldman had Michael Penix Jr. ranked really, really high. And Sig talked about it last night on the live stream. This must be very vindicating and very validating for you to see him go this high. And all of us are kind of like, ha, Michael Penix, what a stupid pick. I still gave it an F+ grade.
I just don't like
An
where the
F+.
pick happened.
F+. We're just
How
making things up.
optimistic. How
We're making
optimistic.
things up because I get what they're trying to do. I get that they're trying to do the whole Jordan Love thing, the Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith thing, right? Like, there's a
The
good
difference
player.
is,
Let's
like,
take him.
Aaron Rodgers had like 15 years of experience in that offense and was a Hall of Famer. Kirk Cousins is brand new.
He knows
His
the
first
offense.
year, coming off an injury. Like, it is not apples.
He
to
doesn't like
apples
that.
at
He doesn't
all.
like this at all.
And that's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
they said that he was shocked.
Yes,
he was
that
surprised.
was-
And I could just picture Woody Harrelson with his $100 bills wiping his tears away. Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins wiping
Yeah.
his Coles cash.
I think the weird
Oh,
Cole's
man.
cash.
Well done.
I think
I'm
the
stealing
weird
that.
thing for the Falcons is that they've set themselves up to compete in this 2-year window that they have Kirk Cousins. This wasn't
Right.
something where
Yeah.
like it's, oh, well, we're preparing for the future. No, your future was right now.
Mhm.
And like, I love the meme that someone posted on Twitter that, Terry Fontenot finding out it's not a super flex league.
Yeah,
Like,
that was good.
Because
That one was funny.
I think this threw everyone for a loop. And the video of Terry Fontenot having to explain the pick to Arthur Blank
Mhm.
is hilarious because everyone knows everyone has been in that where you have to explain to
doing
your
that at
spouse that
hands,
you
like-
did something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm getting into it. Everyone's been in that moment where you have to explain yourself to someone that's like, that was not the move. And Terry Fontenot, the video just looks great. Arthur Blank is asking him like, why'd we do this? What's going on? Didn't I just buy you guys a quarterback?
I just want to say, I don't think Penix is a bad quarterback. I know that's like a scalding hot take right now. We talked about him going 13 to Vegas last week. I think that
And I still
he
thought
is
that was too high.
kind of deserving of being top half of the first round. I just think that this landing spot is what makes it so bad. They just invested $100 million in Kirk Cousins. That's why I don't understand this move. I don't think that Penix 8 might be a little bit steep, but I thought he'd go in the teens. I thought that Denver, Las Vegas, another QB needy team would have. It was just so shocking that the Falcons, like I said, we were screaming in this room last night when they made that pick.
Dude. All right. The grades. I went F+.
F.
F- to restore the balance.
I like it.
F. Just F.
Yeah. This is rough.
Because we said that F. There
This
was a
is
lot
rough.
of
F's in the
room
chat.
when it
F's in the
happened.
chat.
This was roughs. This roughs.
Rough.
That's how many F's are in it.
Yeah. I don't even think there's like really much of a fantasy fallout because we're likely not seeing Michael Penix in year 1. So I guess the dynasty rankings here
So
for
let me
Penix.
read you. You know, we did do the article yesterday.
Okay, yeah, let's give some love. Let's give some love.
Zare. Risers, none. Faller, Michael Penix. Way to go, Zare.
Yeah,
Man,
nailed
we got
it.
That one.
Yeah, because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to answer this on the source sheet. I wrote, you have an old QB to sit until when? He's 30? Cool.
30. Cool.
So
So let's
have
do-
to get into the dynasty debates. Like,
Let's do a little of this or that.
Every
Yeah.
quarterback.
Let's do a little of this or that. Daniel Jones or Michael Penix Jr. in Dynasty.
Penix.
I'll take Penix. Yeah.
Derek Carr.
I hate Derek Carr so much, but I'd
Penix.
probably take Carr. I think I can move him now.
I think the guys that we should be grouping them with are the guys who are on a bench that have upside right now, like Trey Lance or Michael Penix.
Stop.
So, like, that's
Stop.
what we're looking
Come
at.
on.
Okay.
Sam Darnold or Michael Penix.
Darnold.
Russell
No.
Wilson. Russell Wilson or Penix.
Penix.
Here you go. Perfect. Justin Fields or Penix.
You already know my
Fields.
answer. It's
Fields,
Fields,
yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
Fields.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a rookie that hasn't been taken yet that I would take ahead of Penix, and that's Rattler.
Oh,
And I don't even know where he's going to land yet, but I think it's a better spot than where Penix landed.
I can't
Yeah.
wait
And
to
I think we'll
open
get
up
to
that.
start sooner.
I can't wait to open up that bag.
Yeah,
later.
no,
Oh.
2 years from now, let's come back.
So now, you guys want to do some more names there?
No.
No,
No.
we're just good. We're done with
Penix
we're done
is
with the
a-
Penix.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Draft
move on.
him in like late
Move on
round
from
2
the
of your
Penix.
rookie draft and throw him on your taxi squad. And
Yeah.
I mean, if let's Cousins gets hurt, God forbid, this season, Cousins goes down with an injury. Penix is, what?
He's in a good
top
spot.
15 quarterback.
Let's put it this way. I
Throw one
think
of
he's
those
better
weapons.
than Desmond Ritter. Let's say
He's
that.
better than Desmond Ritter. Yeah.
Let's
It's not a high bar.
Well, I'm just trying to find a silver lining, Alfredo.
He is
So-
not the 32nd best starter in the league. Is what you're saying.
All right, so we've got through. That's pick number 8.
Yeah.
Before we keep going on to the Chicago Bears and Roma Odunze, we're gonna give away 2 spots to the listener league here. These are the people. You guys have been loyal listeners and viewers of the show. You left us some reviews, and we've got 7 more spots available to the listener league after we give these 2 away. So our 2 winners here. First one, Sheldon Hand. This guy has actually been, round of applause there for
Give
Sheldon.
him
Because he has been watching, listening, everything since even before I was at football, guys. Like this is a true blue fan of the show. And our second winner, I want to make sure I say the last name right. I'm just assuming, please don't get mad. It's Aaron Weiner or Weiner. But congrats to Aaron and to Sheldon. You guys are now in the listener league. Dave, that's 7 spots left though.
7
spots
spots
left.
We'll be giving away all off season.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some more giveaways and some more fun stuff. But yeah, make sure you're tuned in all throughout the offseason as we give away these spots to the listener league. And there might be even some more fun giveaways in future episodes. Things like Scott Fishbowl stuff. And
Ooh,
I hear that's a
Ooh,
big
I don't
deal.
know.
teaser.
I don't
That's a
know.
Big deal.
I don't know. It could happen. I don't know. All right, let's get to pick number 9 here. Chicago Bears go with Dave was also pants off at this moment. It just got really weird. There was just a moment
Haven't
where
put them on since.
Jagger's pants were off. Dave's pants were off. Me and Joey were the only people wearing pants. No shirts, though. Roma Odunze goes to Chicago Bears. And this is a good pick, right? I mean, it's a really talented player. Daniel Jeremiah had him as his wide receiver 2 overall. I think his 3rd overall player, something like that.
We talked with Danny Kelly a couple weeks ago where he said that like outside of the Jamar Chase year and the DJ Moore year, Roma Odunze would have been his wide receiver 1 in almost every draft
Yes.
class over the last like 6 or 7 years. Like he is that good.
Yes. And I mean, and it's a perfect fit there in Chicago
Mhm.
because everyone kind of has a different contrasting style. I gave this a B+ simply because it is going to be a rookie quarterback. There already are 2 other good players there. I think this is a much better dynasty pick than it is redraft pick.
Yes.
And I think in dynasty drafts, I'd be taking Roma Odunze over Malik Nabers, and like pretty clearly to me, because I think he's equally as talented as Nabers, maybe even better. And then you've got just a good situation going forward with Caleb Williams. I gave it a B+. Jagger, where you at?
I gave it an A.
A?
Yeah, good players are good.
Dave?
A- for me. And the only thing is, we could be looking at sort of I said it yesterday, right when it happened, Jackson Smith-Njigba. We know the guy's talented, but he landed on a team with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And we said, well, it's going to be a year or 2 for him to kind of finally break out. And Roma Odunze, he's going to have some huge spike weeks as a rookie, almost guaranteed. but I think we're going to have to wait probably until a year or two when Keenan Allen is gone for him to really break out as a top 12 wide receiver.
Allegedly gone.
Joey, where do you have him graded?
Yeah, I love this.
A. I think my favorite part after this pick was Dave looking into our eyes, starry-eyed, glistening, saying, I haven't been this excited since Justin Fields.
It's tough being a Bears fan, all right? We take the wins we can. Draft night is always the best time to be a Bears fan. And then the season kicks off, reality sets in, the team rolls over and dies, and we say, well, next year.
You're bright-eyed
Just
and bushy-tailed with hope. And
You're there now, Jagger, with the Patriots.
yeah.
I'm sorry,
riding
pal.
I'm riding this high until it crashes down inevitably.
So I really like the way Jeff Belt broke down the risers and fallers in this article. Riser, Caleb Williams, obviously, Keenan Allen's going to be great for year one to help the development, getting open immediately off the line and helping him get through his first reads. But, it helps to have another weapon like this. I mean, Caleb Williams has a number one pick ever fallen into a landing spot this good. I mean, it's unbelievable.
No.
It's a rhetorical question. The answer is no. No first round pick has ever been in a spot this good. But what he did for his risers, he said Rome Odunze long term is a riser and Rome Odunze short term is a faller. So I really like the way he kind of differentiated that. But he also has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet. All of the pass catchers are falling in Chicago because Gerald Everett, he is there as well. Yeah. Velus Jones, Tyler Scott, also fallers here.
Velus Jones is close to retirement. So.
He and Penix are going to be in the AARP line in a couple seasons. But, Rome Odunze, I think once he gets up to speed, he's going to be a dominant guy. He's going to be a top 10, top 12 guy consistently playing opposite DJ Moore. I mean, this is bright days ahead. Chicago Bears.
Allegedly.
The Lisan Al-Gaib for Chicago, Caleb Williams. Boys, after the Bears, we end up with the Minnesota Vikings at 10.
They did it.
And they traded up one spot. And we were sitting there saying, maybe they don't have to. I think the Michael Penix trade might have scared them a little bit and then kind of looking around and saying, okay, the Broncos are here and other teams might move up. But the Vikings go and they get J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan, who I think a lot of people expected him to be on the Vikings. And I do think a lot of people expected that trade to maybe happen where they moved up to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to sit back and really only have to move up one spot. And they kept their first round pick that happened later that night. So JJ McCarthy,
the Vikings knocked yesterday out of the park.
Yeah. Phenomenal. I still give it an A- just because I'm not super high on JJ McCarthy, but I do think that this is, no one's going to disagree. This is a fantastic landing spot for him. I kind of look at it this way. We've seen how good a quarterback that's a good passer can be with Kirk Cousins. Now there's a difference. JJ McCarthy's a bit more athletic. So I think the fantasy points sort of shift to rushing and less on the passing. What did you guys end up grading this one as? I went A-. Jagger, what'd you go with?
I gave it an A- as well. To be honest, it's I love JJ McCarthy in this spot. I didn't want him to go top 3. And I know that's, I guess, kind of apples to oranges, but an underrated landing spot is the Vikings. So I think especially for JJ McCarthy, I don't think he could have gone to a better situation.
Yep.
So I definitely think, unless you're a hater.
Chicago.
Okay.
Shut up, Dave.
There were the rumors last week that the Bears were torn.
But I like, in my opinion, he's going to be ahead of Drake May for a lot of people because he already has a really good foundation built around him. I mean, this team is a playoff team right now, so they'll go as far as McCarthy will take him, or Darnold. I don't know.
And I think that's a serious question.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy just turned 21 years old. We know he's got the tools. He needs time to develop. This, much like I was saying with Jacoby Brissett, possibly being the week 1 starter, half a season starter, maybe a whole year starter. If Sam Darnold starts the season, 3-1, why are they going to move to JJ McCarthy? Like I think that they're going to slow roll his development as well. Darnold is a guy that I'm low key a little bit excited about, finally with a good quarterback coach, good offense, good weapons. I'm not totally writing Sam Darnold off for dead. Another guy that, in the wake of draft night, I'm trying to go out and buy for cheap in dynasty leagues right now because I think Sam Darnold is going to get a little more leash this year than a lot of people expect. We might not see JJ McCarthy take a snap if Sam Darnold stays healthy and plays relatively well this season.
Interesting. I think I go the other way on that. I think JJ McCarthy gets in there early. And I think there's a confidence that Kevin O'Connell has, especially from what we saw last year, what he was able to do with Josh Dobbs. Like, they didn't throw in the towel and just say, okay, well, this is a lost season. They went out and they got a quarterback and someone that kind of knew the system. And I think there is some pressure. There's some really good players on this team. There's a lot of money invested in these offensive weapons. They went out, draft Jordan Addison early. They trade for TJ Hawkinson. They're going to have to put big money into Justin Jefferson. And if KOC can't put JJ McCarthy out there and win some games, I'm not saying his job is to stay on the line, but I think there's a little bit more added pressure. I don't think you trade up. I don't think you take a guy in the top 12 and make him sit, unless, of course, you're the Atlanta Falcons and Michael Penix. But yeah, I actually think that JJ McCarthy might be the week 1 starter, unless, training camp could have to be awful for him. I think KOC is that confident, though.
He's the type of quarterback I like to take in redraft because I'm a quarterback tandem guy. I'm the last guy in a league, if you're in with me, that will take a quarterback because I will sit there and I'll take him with my last round pick and go grab Jared Goff or Brock Purdy as the QB 12 from whoever's drafting that league. So he's the kind of guy I like to go out and get. And I don't worry about those question marks because I'll worry about them week 8, week 9 when I see what's happened because I've got someone that's going to help me start the season.
I think it's weird when we take a look at the draft profile that pops up on screen yesterday when he got drafted over on NFL Network. The 3 words they used to describe him were winner, efficient, and Alex Smith.
Alex Smith is good.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also a sneaky athlete.
But that's so, gosh, the NFL draft is supposed to be this time that is so exciting that everyone gets up in arms, really excited. There could not be a bigger wind out of your sails than, he's a really good game manager and he's a winner. And that was what everyone kept pointing to for JJ McCarthy. He won in high school and then he eventually won in college. He wasn't really the reason that Michigan won. Maybe I'm just being a hater here, but I'm not as excited about JJ McCarthy. I'm very excited about the landing spot. And I do think, Joey, I think you're right. I think this is the kind of guy that you take a swing on late in redraft leagues because he could be that quarterback that towards the end of the year is looking really, really good for you. And you can trade the other quarterback maybe you drafted early, or he's that guy that ends up giving you some rushing upside with some great weapons. So I can see both sides of it. I think there's a lot of gray area with the McCarthy pick.
3 guys on the spot real quickly. What is a better landing spot for a quarterback? Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, or DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet?
Vikings.
I think so.
Vikings.
Right.
I think there's
the coach does a lot for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Defensive minded coach in Chicago is probably the tiebreaker there.
I think the fact that we saw Josh Dobbs play so well and there was the Pastronaut era going on there.
That was a fun couple weeks.
Yeah, it was.
People were shaving their eyebrows as well.
That was the peak Twitter moment, peak social media moment from 2023.
I almost did it.
I'm waiting for people to go blonde next year. So dynasty rankings for the quarterbacks here, JJ McCarthy. I think him landing in Minnesota bumps him up pretty heavily.
And that in the stock watch, again, I'm going to keep going back to this because our staff knocked these out of the park yesterday. Christian Williams wrote this article and he had JJ McCarthy as the biggest riser. Obviously, great landing spot. Also had TJ Hawkinson and Aaron Jones as risers because JJ McCarthy is definitely going to hit those guys. He's going to take the easy throws, the underneath throws, and he has Sam Darnold a faller because obviously his seat's a little bit warmer than Jordan Addison as a faller because Jordan Addison is a guy that plays deep and he's going to try to get deep downfield, and McCarthy might not be willing to push the ball to Addison the way that other quarterbacks have.
And he kind of has that he doesn't have the best touch right now. He has a really flat ball. So that's
got a big arm.
Yeah, but and that's just a technique thing. You can coach that.
And that's where Kevin O'Connell, we hope he does what he can do.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you out. I'm just
I'm glad you did it
because
these guys work hard on it, man.
Knocked him out of the park last night. Yeah.
You guys can go check all that out over footballguys.com. Just click the articles tab and you're going to see all the fantasy fallout that we have from all these guys. Let's take a look really quick at the dynasty rankings here because I just want to compare JJ McCarthy to a couple of guys. Bryce Young or JJ McCarthy? Who do you have ranked higher for dynasty? McCarthy? Yeah, there's some oofs.
One spot ahead.
There's some oofs.
One spot ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to make that swap right now. I have Bryce Young one spot ahead.
Okay. That's what I have too. I have Bryce Young quarterback 20, JJ McCarthy quarterback 21.
I'll make that move. McCarthy was the one quarterback from last night I hadn't moved yet in my dynasty rankings, just looking at it, but I would put him there.
You put him ahead of Young?
I put him ahead of Young.
Okay, thank you, Joey. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Go next.
I have Jared Goff.
Yeah, I would go Goff.
Yeah. I have Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff ahead of them.
Ooh, JJ would hope he's an athletic Goff. That's what we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's we'll pick up the pace here a little bit because Taylor's throwing Teddy Grahams at us. At pick 12, Denver Broncos.
F.
Bo Nix, quarterback, Oregon. Dave, last night you asked, did Sean Payton only draft Bo Nix because he looks like he could be his son?
And then Jagger followed up with more like his brother.
Bo Nix is like 37 years old.
Yeah, Bo Nix and Michael Penix were the oldest quarterbacks drafted in the first round over the last 10 years.
Bo Nix is 24.
Behind only Brandon Weeden.
Yeah.
Amazing.
28 and a half.
So here's the quote from George Payton, the general manager for the Denver Broncos. We could have moved a couple of picks back and maybe got some picks, but at the end of the day, this was our guy. Let's just take him. Let's not overthink it. We would have been sick if we lost him just for a couple of 5th-round picks or what have you.
Cecil's been saying it.
But what a letdown of like, yeah, we could have got him later, but we're just going to take him here. Like normally what you hear is that incredible vote of confidence. Like this was our guy the whole time. If anything, we wanted to move up to go get him. Like you want that conviction from the general manager.
Dumb as the Falcons.
And he was almost kind of like, well, we knew we could have moved back. He shouldn't have been picked this high. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I gave this grade an F. Listen, Bo Nix can make us all look stupid. But Bo Nix can make us all look stupid, man. But I think the Broncos are not a quarterback away. I don't even think they're 3 or 4 players away. I think they're a whole team away.
I mean, hell of a night for Matt Waldman. I just got to say, everybody was just poo-pooing all over Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Waldman was standing up for both of these guys, saying that the NFL is going to like them a lot better than fantasy circles were. And he was right. They both went top 12. Again, Zare wrote an article. He has Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Greg Dulcich, pretty much everybody as a riser here. Zare is also a big fan of Bo Nix. And
they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they go from Jared Stidham to at least somebody. Zach Wilson, obviously the faller here. We went from hoping Zach Wilson might be able to start to probably not.
Was anyone hoping Zach Wilson would? Maybe Zach Wilson was hoping Zach Wilson would start.
My dynasty benches were hoping Zach Wilson would start.
All right, so dynasty rankings. Who are you taking? Michael Penix or Bo Nix?
Penix.
Bo Nix.
Oh, I love this.
This isn't happening a lot.
I love this. I love the fights going on right now.
Normally me and Dave are pretty lockstep. It's weird.
Daniel Jones or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix.
Bo Nix.
Justin Fields or Bo Nix?
Justin
Fields.
Derek Carr or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix.
Russell Wilson or Bo Nix?
Bo Nix.
Geno Smith?
Geno.
Will Levis?
Levis.
Aiden O'Connell.
Okay. I mean, that's a fun.
You're like, okay, relax.
To be honest, I think I'm the highest on this. I gave it a C- because I do see the tools that Bo Nix has, and he has like really good arm angles, and he can play inside of a structure. And I think Sean Payton is arrogant enough. He's like, if I just put a good structure around him, but that's the
Drew Brees.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'd give it a C- because Denver stuck to their guns with what they said they were going to do. They did it. There's something they like.
There's a conviction.
So
there
it's
is.
hard to like knock them too hard if they got who they wanted without having to trade up to do it.
All right, pick 13. This one was probably a little frustrating for us. Las Vegas Raiders select Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. Joey, you kind of mentioned.
I thought they auto-drafted.
Yeah.
I thought they timed out, and he was the best available player, and he got auto-drafted to the team. It didn't make any sense to me.
That's what they wanted. Nix and they wanted Penix. Those were the rumors, and I think they kind of panicked. And it's a weird fit, but I don't hate it. Like when you're in a position like that, you just go BPA, and that's what they did.
Yeah,
so to me, this like screams Tom Telesco, their GM, who always just went best player available when he was with the Chargers. This screams Antonio Pierce, who's like, I just want a football player, a guy who could do it all and be a beast in practice and in the workout rooms, and that's Brock Bowers. For fantasy though, Brock Bowers. For fantasy, I put this as a C+. I just there's not a good enough quarterback in there. You got the ball being split around to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers. There's Michael Mayer as well.
And that
kind of stinks.
Is the one that takes a huge hit. Like a first round pick last year.
Second
round
pick.
Sorry. Yeah. Already had a disappointing season. And I mean, there's not much there. Gardner Minshew, though. Gardner Minshew, like quietly a QB2 last year when he was starting, and now he gets to throw to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers.
If he starts.
I mean, I'd assume he's going to be the starter, but
what happens when you assume?
Yeah, it's a weird pick, but Brock Bowers. I mean, right now, Jacoby Myers isn't under contract that much longer. Devontae Adams is old. Brock Bowers, within a year or two, could find himself as the number one pass catcher here. And if they get a quarterback, I mean, this hasn't changed my opinion on Brock Bowers all that much. It's going to be tough to find production in 2024, but he's still a talented player. I'm going to bet on the talent.
the dynasty rankings for a bit were getting out of hand with Brock Bowers, where he was being, posted up as the tight end 3. I kept him around tight end 5 in dynasty, and I think he maybe stays there. I think there's definitely reason to maybe put him at like tight end 7 or 8 in that area.
For me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's wrong. He's still very young, 21 years old. So I think there's a lot there. Dave, can you hit us with the fantasy fallout for Brock Bowers?
Yeah. Gardner Minshew and Devontae Adams are the risers. Adams and Bowers are going to play in different parts of the field, kind of help each other out a little bit. The fallers, Michael Mayer and Jacoby Myers, which we kind of talked about, expected there, nothing too crazy. This article was written by Sam Wagman, did a great job on it. So, of course, go ahead and check that one out. But as far as dynasty rankings, he's a good player, but I want to see it first. I still have Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, TJ Hawkinson, Kyle Pitts, Trey McBride, Sam Laporta ahead of him. So he's my tight end 7.
All right, let's get to our next pick here. At 23, the Jaguars, they got to move around a bit, and they still got the guy that I think all of us thought they would probably take at 17, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU.
When you're a GM, when you want a player, trade back, acquire additional picks, and still get the player you wanted.
Yep.
I mean, this is awesome for
This is
Jacksonville.
my favorite pick of the draft.
Yep.
I absolutely love this pick.
I mean, I gave it an A. Jagger, what did you give it?
I gave it an A as well. It's like, if it's a need, he's way better than Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis, you shouldn't make decisions about. Like, he's a person.
If they drafted him at 17,
He's a person.
if they drafted Brian Thomas at 17, it would have been an A. Because they got him at 23 with the additional picks. It's an A+ for me. Absolutely knocked this one out of the park.
100% A+ for me.
Yeah, I have to ask this, guys, is there a world where Brian Thomas ends up being the second best fantasy rookie in 2024 as a wide receiver? Because we talked about the concerns with Nabers. We talked about the concerns with Odunze. Is there a chance here where Brian Thomas maybe falls into that lead wide receiver role for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't think so. I think he's still going to be the third option behind Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram.
But he could still be the third option in Jacksonville and still be the second best rookie wide receiver.
That's true.
You didn't think of that, did you, smarty pants?
I don't know. I mean,
there's a world, Dave.
Trevor Lawrence to throw for 5,000 yards. Like,
I'm not saying 5,000, but definitely like 45. Because for me, this feels like the season that Lawrence needs to step up and be what we thought he would be. And I think Brian Thomas has to be a huge part of that. So because of that, I think Brian Thomas could have a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, the next guy we're going to talk about, I like more than Brian Thomas.
Sure, but he hadn't been drafted yet when I wrote this question, Dave, so just go with it. All right, so dynasty rankings debate here for Brian Thomas. We'll do a little this or that on the name. Actually, before we do that, Dave, why don't you give us what's the fantasy fallout here from one of our awesome writers?
Risers, Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. And fallers, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, and Gabe Davis. This one was written by Hutchison Brown. He is in agreement with you where he thinks that Brian Thomas is immediately going to be the wide receiver 1 for Trevor Lawrence.
Well, hold on. I didn't say he's immediately the wide receiver 1.
All right. Well,
I never said that. You love doing this to me.
There is a world.
I'm saying there's a world where he is the second most productive rookie wide receiver.
Now, and it's possible. And what I like is, like, last year they were trying to fit a square peg in a round hole with Calvin Ridley, saying you're running deep downfield routes and that's it and nothing else. And Calvin Ridley is a very versatile player who can do so much more. At this stage in his development, Brian Thomas can just kind of run downfield.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what they want.
A very good role for him.
I think we're looking at a Jordan Addison type of season potentially from Brian Thomas.
If he scores 10+ touchdowns, you could break fantasy football, but I think production is going to be pretty volatile because I think that Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk are still the primary targeters.
For that Jordan Addison season to happen, it took JJ going down.
Yeah,
correct.
True. Yeah.
So wouldn't it take Kirk going down for him to have something even close to that?
Potentially. I think that what you end up seeing here, because the role is so different, it's explosive plays, it's downfield. I think you're seeing something where it's like a Christian Watson, a Jordan Addison, those kind of guys, a George Pickens. Like, I think that's what we're seeing there with Brian Thomas potentially. Let's go to pick 28 here, where the Kansas City Chiefs trade up. And I mean, Bills fans are in shambles because of this. The Chiefs trade up and they go and get Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver out of Texas, who ran a 4.21, officially the fastest player ever at the combine. And the Chiefs make the deal with their biggest rival right now in the league. I guess it's not a rivalry if the Bills aren't winning.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bills fans.
One-sided
Yikes.
rivalry.
They're coming after us now. But like, guys, I give this one an A+. Like, this was just remarkable. I think this was the pick that all of us wanted to happen for the funsies, and then it happened. And then just to add insult to injury, they trade up. They trade up with the Bills, and we're all just like, what?
The last time the Bills allowed the Chiefs to trade up, the Chiefs ended up with Patrick Mahomes. Like, why
So what you're
are
saying
the
is that
Bills
Xavier
doing
Worthy
this?
is going to be the best wide receiver to ever play the game.
He
What I'm
immediately
saying
got
is
drafted
Xavier
to the Hall of
Worthy
Fame.
is the next Patrick Mahomes. Yes.
Instant
What are
Hall
the
of
Bills
Famer.
thinking? And then they trade back a second time. Like, I feel for Bills fans. I really do, because before the draft kicked off, everybody was saying, this team's trading up. They're getting their wide receiver, and then the wide receiver that they need, that fits the exact need they have, falls into their laps, and they go, we'll trade back and let the Chiefs get him.
We've been saying, is there a world? This feels like the most realistic. Is there a world where he could be the wide receiver too? To me, of the ones we've talked about.
Yeah,
because you see the path for it being with the Chiefs.
Can we get some T-shirts? Is there a world?
Is there? There's a world. There's a world.
Last night.
That's footballguys.shop.com. Yeah.
So
If you
I did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Mine's nonsense.
I was just.
The whole show is nonsense, guys.
I did the write-up last night on Xavier Worthy, and I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled about this, because we see Travis Kelce getting older, and then we're expecting him. Maybe he bounces back, but asking a 35-year-old tight end to bounce back is a big ask. And Marquise Brown is only on a 1-year deal there. So what we're looking at is Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, who have two very different skill sets, operate in very different parts of the field. This is the best, like literally the best group of pass catchers that he has had, Patrick Mahomes has had, since Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And he's going to have these guys for the next 4 years. I mean, this is all of a sudden, we've seen this too high shell coverage kind of capping the big plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they've been taking the underneath stuff. Now with Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy, they have the guys that can beat that too high shell coverage. He's got the guys that can win underneath. He's got a good run game. He's got a good defense. Chiefs are going to be unstoppable for the next few years.
Yeah.
I think there's a really wide range of outcomes here, and I don't want to be too blinded by the excitement of fast guy, go to Chiefs. Like it's not that simple, because they're also, like you said, there's still Travis Kelce, there's still Rashee Rice. I know there's a suspension potentially looming. There's still Marquise Brown. It's kind of notorious that we've seen wide receivers take a little bit of time to be good in that Chiefs offense. It's possible here, guys. Like I'm not trying to poo-poo this. I still think Xavier Worthy's a phenomenal pick for them.
Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney.
There's a very wide range of possibilities here. There's a world. I'm just saying, there's a world. We got to look at
more
this.
Faith in Marquise Brown to be a better wide receiver than Mahomes.
So you think that he's going to be a bigger target in that offense than Marquise Brown?
I think he can.
He can.
He can.
I think we all agree he can. It's a matter of will he be.
Yeah.
And I think Xavier Worthy, I mean, this year, there's a lot of weapons there.
Yeah.
But I don't expect to see. I mean, Xavier Worthy, definitely another long play that we talked about. A lot of these rookies might take a year to warm up. Xavier Worthy might be playing second fiddle in the deep game to Marquise Brown, and Travis Kelce might still have some in the tank. But like going into 2025, Marquise Brown is gone. Travis Kelce is off his contract. It's probably going to be Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy in 2025, 2026,
Yeah,
2027.
I think Kelsey's gone if they win a third Super Bowl. I think he's going to walk off.
Yeah.
What a way to walk off.
Yeah.
And that's when Xavier Worthy's value truly skyrockets.
Yeah.
All right, Dynasty, really quick. Xavier Worthy or Brian Thomas?
Worthy.
Ryan Thomas.
I love that Dave and Jagger are becoming rivals today.
We haven't agreed on a thing.
No, not a thing.
Pick 31. And this is finally when my pants came off.
Uh-oh.
I do. This is the last time I get to do it for him, right?
There you go. Yeah. San Francisco 49ers select Ricky Pearsall. And then there was one left. Joey still had his pants on at this moment because, I was levitating out of my chair. I've been a big Ricky Pearsall fan. I actually have to go and change the thumbnail for tonight's live stream, by the way, because it has Ricky Pearsall on it, me expecting him to go in round 2.
Round 1 was a shock.
Round 1 was very
Awesome.
surprising. And that's, I gave it a B+ because I didn't think he would go round 1, but I just love the landing spot and I love the talent. And it was a little unexpected, but I still love this so much. I think one of the funny things we talked about before the show, CJ Stroud was on a live stream for Bleacher Report. And his exact quote was, "Bro, he's elite. I wanted him bad."
Yep.
And we've seen this. CJ Stroud's got a good eye for talent. He really wanted
Clamoring
Tank
for
Dell
Tank
last
Dell.
year.
CJ Stroud can't have all the wide receivers.
Yeah, dude. Like, what did you want? You've got
stop
Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs. Like, what else did you want?
They extended Dalton
Unnecessary.
Schultz too. Like he's got a
Yeah.
he's got a lot of weapons.
Dalton Schultz as your fourth is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still going to believe in John Mechie. I know. I love the story.
You're good. You're
Yeah.
good. What's the grade here? I went B+ just because I was surprised on the. I love the player and I love the landing spot.
Yeah.
I just from a strictly draft value thing, I thought it might have been a little bit of a reach, but maybe I'm just being stupid because I think he would have gone like 10 picks later.
Because I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, and I'm expecting Deebo Samuel to get
And
traded.
that's the talking point, right? If Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk get traded, they already talked about this. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan that Ricky Pearsall can play anywhere. He can play on the outside. He can play in the slot. He can do anything for us. And Ricky Pearsall was used a lot in the rushing game too at Florida. So if Deebo gets sent out, this maybe could have been unexpected, but we might actually see Ricky Pearsall in a pseudo Deebo type role for the Niners.
And I'll drop this number out here. This blows my mind. 9.91 relative athletic score out of 3,402 wide receivers. Dating back to 1987, Ricky Pearsall ranks 31st in athleticism, and that is size-adjusted athleticism. The only thing that's a knock on his profile is his size. You know, he's 6 foot, 189 pounds, but blazing speed, super strong, explosive. Like he can do it all. So
you've convinced me. I already just changed it to an A+.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Here's what I wrote in yesterday's article. I said Ricky Pearsall is tailor-made for the San Francisco 49ers offense. His athleticism and willingness to block fits with the scheme predicated around getting receivers in space to make plays with the ball in their hands. His spot in the pecking order, hard to predict at the moment, but a trade can quickly pave his path to relevancy.
In a vacuum without a trade with the wide receivers, I gave this a C+. And here's the reason why. It has nothing to do with the player or the situation.
I hate you.
They need defensive help. Their problem was they couldn't stop anyone in the passing game. Like that's the problem, you know. But
so put on your imagination hat for a second. Deebo Samuel gets traded for a 3rd round pick. Then what do you give this grade?
A++.
A B+.
Jagger, I don't like you.
You need defensive help. You have all the wide receivers in the world.
Ricky Pearsall here, pick 31. Guys, I got to say, I'm going to say it again. Dave, take that stupid hat off. If you're not watching, if you're just listening, he just threw on a bucket hat.
I was like, oh, the hat. I forgot.
Dave just threw on his bucket hat.
Peace, love, fantasy football.
That's right.
Where can we get that, Dave?
This is
what is the link for the merch store?
Footballguys.shop.com.
Yeah,
footballguys.shop. Shop.footballguys.com. Taylor is telling me as he stuffs his face with Teddy Grahams.
Get your bucket hat today.
Bucket hats.
In a world t-shirts coming soon.
Oh, please can we get the in a world t-shirts? That's our homage to Sig. But guys, I think there's a world where if Deebo Samuel gets traded, could Ricky Pearsall be the rookie wide receiver 2 in this first year?
No. That's the cutoff for me.
Really? So if he's a starting wide receiver on the Niners, him and Brandon Ayuk are the wide receivers. We don't think that he could outproduce Malik Nabers or Odunze, who are going to be
Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. They're still going to get theirs.
Okay.
Ricky Pearsall
So
still
what?
a 4th option.
But he's replacing Deebo. So we're saying there's not a world where that exists. If Deebo gets traded, like Ricky Pearsall is still like, it's just, he's probably not a top 24.
Deebo in the same role as Deebo, but he's not Deebo.
It would be the hardest for me to see.
So then can he be a top 24 wide receiver?
Yes, I will say that.
That's possible.
All right.
Good enough, right?
Yeah. I got my W. That's all I really wanted. That's all I really wanted. Brian Thomas or Ricky Pearsall?
Brian
Thomas.
Deebo gets traded?
Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas.
All right, whatever. You guys are stupid. Let's go to pick 32. Carolina Panthers trade up 1 pick into the 1st round. The Bills traded back out again, and they get the man with the absolute best Southern drawl in the entire draft. Xavier Legette, wide receiver out of South Carolina.
I love the accents.
First of all, I'm smitten by the accent. And I love that I got to use the word smitten on a podcast. I don't know how much I love the actual pick itself. I think the first thing I said when this pick was made is we have Jonathan Mingo at home. We didn't need more Jonathan Mingo.
Mm-hmm.
And the rumors came out last week that David Tepper was like all about Legette. And I tweeted that out last week. I was like, they whiffed on the Jonathan Mingo experiment, and now they are doubling down.
This screams David Tepper.
Yeah.
This screams David Tepper. Local restaurants are putting signs up on their marquee saying, let the GM and head coach make the picks.
Mm-hmm.
And David Tepper is going in there. Like there's a story out there. David Tepper went in there to yell at the owners of the restaurant. He's unhinged.
This pick reminded me of our Uber driver. I love the personality, but I'm not sure how good he does his job. Like we had the most amazing, like, was it Afrobeats singer?
Yeah.
Uber driver, incredible singer, but I don't know how he drove because I was laughing so hard.
I wouldn't. Incredible is a strong term. It was. He
was an incredible experience.
It was an incredible effort.
Yeah. He was the only guy.
He was very confident in himself, though. I will say that. He was like, guys, the talent's there. So okay, Xavier Legette goes to the Panthers. I gave us a D.
Yeah.
I gave us a D because this is a player that needs to develop. And I guess the Panthers can give him time to develop. And Dave Canales is the guy who worked with the Seahawks and he's had experience with a guy like DK Metcalf where it's possible. I just don't love this value for the Panthers. What did you guys rate it at, Jagger?
I had D+ because it's like you said, not only did they trade up, like with the Buffalo Bills really going to make this pick
for what they threw in like a 5th round pick or something like that, so they can move up 1 pick for Xavier Legette.
So they can get the 5th round option, and I get it. I guess
that's it. Yeah, that's what it is.
They bought a 5th round option. All right, whatever. But again, you don't need a developmental guy. There's so many holes in his game. I get all the good things that people like, all the traits. But I said this earlier. It's like you can give me all the ingredients to make a pizza, but I still don't have a pizza. I just got dough, cheese, and pepperoni. You know,
I'm just hungry.
Well,
this reminds me a lot of Treylon Burks when he got drafted, and I felt very similarly to him. Dave, what do you have this graded as?
I got a C- here.
Yeah,
we're all in the same range. Joey,
I want to be a little more optimistic because Dave Canales, what he did last year with the Bucks, like I loved it. I hate to see him go. I was so happy to see him get an opportunity. But I'll be a little more optimistic about it because of that.
Pour one out for Jonathan Mingo, though.
I mean,
I guess those were already poured out. Those bottles are empty, brother.
I was hoping maybe like a secondary role behind Deontay Johnson. Maybe we could see something, but that dream is dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jordan Vanek.
I
don't like
our football guys, staff member Jeff Bell just traded to me. I'm like, dude, I'm not giving up on Mingo. And that pick happened last time. I was like,
should have done. Gave up on Mingo.
Yeah.
Boys, I think there are quite a few wide receivers that could get drafted today that could easily get ranked ahead of Xavier Legette in not just redraft, but in dynasty as well. Like, I don't think that this is the 1st round wide receiver pick that is going to be ranked very highly. I don't think there's much to debate there.
Yeah.
Let's cap this off. We got a few fun things here to finish. Joey, last night you were having the best of times, the absolute best of times saying these names.
Yep.
And so
I still not looked at them.
We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 names, probably the most complicated draft prospect names to say. We're going to give you 15 seconds. Dave, you got your phone there. Can you make a timer?
I'm getting this stopwatch right now.
Can you make a timer? And then we're not telling the audience or anything like that. I just want you to try to read these as fast as you can.
All right, ready and go.
Leitu Latu, Talis Fugua, Troy Fatunua, Alumia Fashusanu, Kieran Agabijade, and Greg Dulcich. Thank you.
Greg Dulcich was
That's that last one, right? Oh no. Ruke Aruhu.
That was rough.
Why?
Yeah, I don't think I got one.
Nope.
It was the timer. What I wanted was one chance to say each name. The timer, yeah.
So the last one was Rook Ororo.
Roro.
Uh-oh.
Leitu Latu, Talise Fuaga, Troy Fontanu, Olumia Fashanu or Olu Fashanu, Kieran Amigaji. That one's rough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Amigadeji.
Yeah.
Joey,
I tried.
I'm so happy we did that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy we did that.
To wrap up the show, I will give that a D+.
F+. F+.
Boo, Wendy Testerberger. Boo.
Yeah. All right, so let's start here. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going to do our favorite picks, least favorite pick, biggest rankings riser, biggest rankings faller, most surprising pick that did or did not happen, and then the sorry Joe move of the draft. So let's start with favorite pick. Joey, let's start with you.
Yeah, Brian Thomas. I already said it. 23rd overall. I had the Jaguars taking him 17th. I really did. And to move back 6 spots and get 3 additional picks in the next 2 years, next 2 drafts, I should say, because they have a pick later today that they'll get A+ move on my behalf.
Dave, favorite pick.
I'm gonna, there were a lot of good picks at the top of the draft, but I'm gonna go Ricky Pearsall. I think that he is just such a good fit for the 49ers offense. Props to the 49ers for going out and getting their guy.
Jagger?
Drake May, baby. I'm going to be Homer. I don't care.
I changed it's Caleb Williams, my favorite pick.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, my favorite pick, Ricky Pearsall as well.
Love it.
Least favorite pick, Joey.
Brock Bowers to Vegas. Maybe it's just a Michael Mayer thing that I don't like the pick. we'll see what happens with it. You have so many more needs.
Dave?
Michael Penix is older than Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. Enough said.
Combined. Jagger?
Xavier Legette, Jonathan Mingo 2, Electric Boogaloo.
My least favorite pick, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. Didn't get it. Biggest rankings riser for fantasy football. So
Xavier Worthy goes to the Chiefs. We thought it might happen, but the fact that it did happen, he just vaults up that draft board. Love it.
Dave?
Xavier Worthy, tied to Mahomes for the next 4 to 5 years. Complementary skill set to Rashee Rice. This is a match made in heaven.
For me, Ricky Pearsall, I was going to be happy to take him in the second. Now I'll gladly take him at the 112, 111.
I also went with Xavier Worthy, guys. So 3 out of 4, Xavier Worthy, big riser. And I mean, we got 2 favorite picks for Ricky Pearsall. So I mean, it's just everything's looking up for those 2 guys. Let's get to our biggest rankings faller. Joey?
I was hoping Brock Bowers would go to the Colts or the Bengals, and I would have had him as a top 5 tight end. The fact that he didn't, he's definitely outside my top 8 now.
Yeah,
Dave?
Jets were another team that would have been great for Brock Bowers, but this landing spot with Las Vegas, not great. Fighting for tight end snaps with Michael Mayer, fighting for targets with Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams. They don't have a QB. I'm not dropping him dramatically in my rankings, but I was hoping to move him up after draft day, and he's just meh.
Jag?
For the sake of being a contrarian, Malik Nabers.
You don't have to be a contrarian.
But it needs to be said.
It's a good one, though.
But yeah,
It's a good
no,
one, yeah.
but no, it is. That's a good pick. I also went Brock Bowers. Just the Raiders thing just doesn't make
3.
sense. Most surprising pick that did or did not happen. Joey?
So I'm going to go a different avenue with this. For our IDP audience, no linebackers were taken in the first round.
Yeah.
That's odd for an NFL draft. So for me, that's kind of surprising. I know there's no one that was graded super high, but Edgerrin Cooper, I thought he would find a role last night. He didn't.
Yeah.
Dave?
A.D. Mitchell. Kind of surprising, to a lot of us fantasy nerds that really liked A.D. Mitchell. A lot of film guys liked him, but I think it's maybe a little expected. If you paid attention to the reports that were coming out, and a lot of people were saying, oh, these are just smoke screens so Buffalo and Kansas City can get their guy, but he actually fell out of the first round. And that's shocking.
A.D. Mitchell for me as well. I didn't believe him. I thought it was smoke screens, but diabetes, guys, diabetes.
Yeah. My most surprising pick, Michael Penix.
Yeah.
It's just no one Kirk Cousins didn't expect it. He's on the team. To me, that's the most surprising pick of the whole draft. Lastly, our Sorry Joe, we were going to call his pick, but let's open it up to Sorry Joe moment or Sorry Joe move of the draft. Joey?
I'll go with where the most F's flew last night, and that's when Penix was drafted by the Falcons at 9. We were like, what the goodness is going on here?
Yeah. What the football?
Yeah.
And I think that Penix move was shocking, but props to the Buffalo Bills for taking the heat off of the Atlanta Falcons when they gift wrapped Xavier Worthy. Just, bad franchises stay bad. Sorry, Buffalo.
Yeah. Jagger?
Alfredo got all these categories from the MTV Movie Awards, but I think but mine was definitely the Penix one for sure.
Do we have a best kiss?
Best kiss was Roger Goodell in the bottle of whiskey that was backstage. Come on. My Sorry Joe move of the draft was the Bills letting the Chiefs trade up for Xavier Worthy.
My real Sorry Joe moment is going 2 hours on the show and pushing our meeting back.
Oops.
That's a sorry, Taylor.
They can't do anything. We're on camera. You can't do it to us. But we're going to be back again tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to be live streaming throughout the night. So if you're listening to this now on the podcast or watching it wherever, we are going to be back on YouTube tonight, live streaming throughout round 2, maybe even round 3. Let's see if we can get Dave enough drinks and can keep him on camera.
Dave hates fun.
Yeah, Dave hates fun.
Guys, we need to be serious.
Yeah.
He just wants to wear bucket hats and take his pants off here.
Yeah.
I order salads when I eat with friends.
Salads are good. I need my fiber.
He did get a salad at lunch yesterday.
Yeah.
Why you put me in the? Come
I'm
on.
glad you're healthy and you look good. Not happy.
I like salad.
We got to keep you around for another 100 episodes. This was big. Thank you so much to everyone that's listening, that has watched, that is celebrating with us. This is such a big milestone for us as just for content creators, as a company, as a new show. Big thanks to Joe Bryant for just taking a chance on us. A big thank you to Taylor, our resident Teddy Grahams eater and got quick feet in the pocket over there, who's been producing this whole time. And a big thank you to all of you that have been watching and listening. This has just been fantastic. And join us again for round 2 and 3 tonight. And then we'll be back again each week with our regularly scheduled episodes. Big thanks to all of you. We'll see you next time. Adios.
Bye.